let's see. So you guys are going to want to take notes today. You can always, when you get to the level for the affiliate networking, you can always just go back and refer to that. Um, but let's go ahead and dive into it. So I'm going to do a screen share. Actually, Jessica, good morning. Ryan, I don't know if you're available or if you're driving, if you want to introduce yourself. We try to be somewhat interactive in here. You could also do it in the chat if you're busy. All right. Okay.
I'm Jessica Claycomb. I own Washington Pro Se Process Serving out of Seattle area, Washington. And I've been doing it about for 4 years, and I just went on my own at the beginning of this year.
Yes, so exciting. And Jessica, you've been really taking massive action, and I've been seeing, and you've been reporting a lot of success, which is so cool. It's so cool to see, and it reminds me of those early days when I started, and just the excitement of like, hey, this is working. The stuff I'm doing is working. Wow, it's cool. It's really cool.
Yeah, I'm definitely finding that taking all these steps and all these tips is paying off.
I appreciate that. And I've just recently started honoring that you guys are like leaving testimonials and reviews and stuff with Instagram and social media. So you'll start to see a lot of that, but also on I think it's on Friday or Saturday this weekend. It's on the calendar inside the community. But you and Jeff are like neck and neck up there at the top for engagement. We'll see how it goes. But also this weekend, it's about a big. I have to remember. We'll rewatch what I said, but I'm pretty sure the goal was who basically gets the most people to join, right? And I think you might be in the lead.
Well, I got two before you announced it, so you'll have to decide if it counts.
I don't know how it can't count, right? Like I don't know how it can't, but yeah. So Jeff, you left the meeting right after I said that I'm a loud chewer. I was like, man, Jeff, damage, emotional damage, you know. Okay. All right. So let's go ahead and get started. Oh, actually, Jeff, we're live and let's make it a little bit of a habit of doing that. Why don't you introduce yourself?
Jeff in Roanoke, Virginia, 30 miles east of Virginia Tech. Also have offices in Richmond and Norfolk. Private investigators, process servers for 30 years with my son Mark, and we're glad to be part of the group.
Awesome, awesome. Yeah, and then Ryan's been very active inside the community. I think he's driving or something, but all right, let's go ahead and get started with the training. Welcome
Yeah, this
everyone.
is Ryan Norris.
Yeah, yeah. How's it going, Ryan? Do you want to introduce yourself?
Yeah, just real quick. I'm on my way to the office. I usually get there about around 7:30ish.
Hmm.
But I'll do a quick introduction while I can. But my name is Ryan North. I'm a process server. I own a process serving company in San Diego, California, and I've been doing it for about 4 years. And I got several process server all throughout California and pretty much all throughout the United States. So I kind of do that level of marketing and that level of service for my client. And I also am a judgment enforcement agent. I do enforcement of judgment. I've been doing that for 22 years. Did quite well on that. It's just not everyday money. And
Okay.
and I just recently started, got my license for a bail bondsman.
Okay. Yeah, so I've went down some of those roads, and so I would be love to have some of those conversations with you in future meetings as we go. And feel free to chime in. I say this, but I'll say it again because as humans, we naturally hear somebody like teaching or saying something, and sometimes we'll think, what does he think he know it all? No, like I'm very much a person of I love marketing, so I'll talk too much about marketing. I'll talk too much about business, sometimes about my own things that have nothing to do with business. And it's just a part of the mastermind, right? Somebody else has, if you have something to say, chime in. You're a part of the community now. You can show up when you can. It definitely helps when you show up because it even just showing up off camera, you show up and it adds an element of participation, right? And so it really does help. So welcome to the community, and I think you're going to get value, and I'm sure that everyone in the community is going to learn from you too, because most of the people in here are just process servers or PIs or do a little bit of hit this or that. So it sounds like you have some bail bonds. I know we have one guy that does repos, repossessions, cars and stuff. So cool. Welcome.
I lack in marketing, so that's why I came here to learn a little bit more about marketing.
Yeah, marketing's that one thing we all need, right? So good stuff. So let's let's dive in to today's training. And essentially, in the mornings it's not always a training, but because I have so much training that I want to put out, things that I know that you guys will get value from, I want to kind of like boost it, right? I want to put the nitrous oxide on on the trainings and get them out there for you guys, because I want you to succeed. Basic training for those of you guys that don't know, watching the replay or just don't understand what it is, the value that's in here. I did a 90-day challenge to make at least $10,000 a month in a new location where I just moved here in New Mexico to show people that it's possible. I don't know anybody here. I don't no, nobody. Like I have a server here that I knew, one lone server here, and I would send stuff to, and he was overpriced, if I'm being honest. And like I'm talking like $150 for a subpoena or something. And which is fine. I paid it because it was in the middle of nowhere. But now that I've moved here, I thought this is a perfect opportunity to show people that you could do it. I did it in California, did it in Florida, did it, and if I do it here, it's good. I'll actually document it. And so if you go through these videos, that's essentially what I did is I documented, and I thought it was going to take 90 days, or I wanted to give myself enough time, 90 days. But I actually did it in just 15 days. The goal was reached. Well, I got basically the top 3 law firms in town to start sending me their work. I'm not saying that's possible in every city. You never know, right? But it's worth trying. Okay. And the way I did it, I show it live, is essentially just being the backup. So at some point, here in the next couple months, maybe the next 3 months, we're going to actually do the be the backup training. It's in there. I do show you live how to do it, but the be the backup training that's going to come probably in November is going to be where we're all going to do it together, just like we're doing here today. This morning, we'll show up Monday through Thursday, probably for the entire month, and I'll just record all of it, and I will call your areas, and then you'll call your area. Okay, so I'll call your area and say, yeah, this is Mike from Virginia Court Services, just calling. I'm pretty sure you guys already have a process server, but I was curious if you might need a backup. That's kind of the idea, and you'll see how easy it is. It's not that hard. So many people have such a hard time picking up the phone. You can do it, all right? And I've seen people do it, and they are highly successful doing it. You're like, I don't want to cold call. It's not technically cold calling. If it's B2B, business to business, it's kind of like LinkedIn, right? If you get a message on Facebook, I'm kind of going into the training here, but if you get if you message someone on Facebook directly, they're like, who's a scammer, right? Because Facebook is for your friends. Facebook is for connecting maybe with someone you met already at a conference. But if you get a message from LinkedIn out of the blue, are you surprised? No, because it's a business platform, right? So calling another business where their business number is listed is not cold calling. It's just business to business. Hey, would you be interested in you know, getting us on your backup list? So marketing, we're gonna spend about a month on marketing. So October, I'm thinking October, November. So September, this affiliate networking we're gonna do this month, and then I'm gonna go hit a bunch of conferences, which is essentially affiliate networking with all the other process servers. And so it works out perfect. All of September, I'm just so we're gonna do this week, the training part, and then I'm gonna dive into. I'm actually gonna be on the road, and I'm gonna be interviewing people at the conferences like live, and I'm gonna include some of those in here, some of them just on YouTube. And you guys are gonna get to see the power of networking and what caliber of people we're actually dealing with when you go to these conferences. And I'm not going to like hundreds of them. I'm going to like 5. But you're going to see in today's training, we're going to do an overview of all of the different networks And I'm going to add a bunch of networks too as we go, because I want this to be an exhaustive list for you. And I'm going to give you some examples of that today. And then of course, like I said, and then in October, Jeff, your body double is joining. Okay, cool. And then in October, we're going to do marketing. It's a great time of the year to do marketing too, by the way. And then in November, we'll hit up Be the Backup sales training. Okay, these other ones are great. I'll just mention them real quick because they will be coming in the future, distant future. But work from home office training. This is essentially your husband or wife who is at home, or a family member who's at home. You just want them to do office training. And I think I might bring Desi in to teach this. I might actually pay her to come in and actually, she worked for a process serving company in the office for 8 years. And then she, after that, kept working for a couple other process servers independently, just doing the data entry for them. And so she's highly familiar with PST and stuff like that. So I might, and some other in-home office training that is super powerful. Being able to find process servers for a low amount so that your margins are higher. Like this training is going to be really valuable for someone who's getting volume for sure. And then of course, volume contracts, being able to submit a request for a proposal. This made me a lot of money, having all of my child support contracts, all of the city permitting, code violation contracts, stuff like that. We'll do that later next year. These three will be next year. And then that's obviously mentor mastermind. This is going to be basically a daily chat that I'm going to have with all the people who reach the highest level. Because if you notice, if you come back over here, they don't unlock until you get to these levels. So I highly recommend. I was going to charge for these guys. I always do that. I'm like, well, this is so much value. I have to charge for it. And then I'm like, well, I don't need the money for this, so I'm not going to charge for it. This doesn't cost me anything, guys. It costs me like my time and then 99 bucks a month for this platform. So I'm like, you know what? I'll just throw the training in here to help people. And then I have my directory and my websites to monetize it. So yeah, you want to stay engaged and move up the levels. What level are you at now, Jeff?
6.
Oh wow, you're really going. So the Rainmaker, yeah, is to be the backup training. That's where, so you pretty much have for this, for the rest of this year, you're pretty much dialed in. That's perfect. And then Jessica, where are you at? Actually, it tells you right here, doesn't it?
I think I'm at 5.
Yeah. Oh, you could hover over it. That's cool. Yeah, 5. Perfect. Good. So you guys are on pace. And if you come live to the training, you don't have to be at that level because you'll be a part of it, right? You'll be there live during the training. Okay. And if you miss anything, I'm gonna give you guys a little hack that I think will be helpful for some of you, especially some of you that don't ever show up to meetings, but you watch the replays. I'm so shocked by that sometimes. People are like, I've watched all the trainings, and that's my first time meeting them. I've watched all the trainings and every video you've ever made. I know all your children's names and their birthdays. And but I've never been to one of your live videos. This is for you. If you join the directory, my directory, Mighty Process Server, you immediately get unlocked all the courses, all of them. So no, they're not available yet because they're not done. But people who are paying members, of my directory, they basically have the membership level. So it unlocks all of these immediately. I think it doesn't unlock these 3. Work from home, it doesn't unlock these 3. It just unlocks up to 6. Because these ones aren't going to be available for a long time. So I don't want people to, until January. So I don't want people to get frustrated about that. So cool. Little hack for you guys. I don't want to take away from those who are engaged, but some people it's like literally impossible for them to be engaged on a regular basis. So cool. So let's dive into it. So if you go into a classroom, you have the affiliate networking. Inside affiliate networking, this is basically my mind map. I went through all of the things that I've come in contact with or used, and said, okay, how did I leverage this? How can we use it? So we're going to kind of go through this really quick. Let's see who commented here. or what questions they have. Mm. So anytime you guys are there's a training coming and I do one of these posts, I'm primarily doing this post because I can pin it to the course, right? So I do this post so I can pin it to the course so that it's in the community section, but it's also inside the course section. And so I could come in here. So you could say, I'll see you there. And you can ask whatever questions you have too. We are live. I'm just gonna some of these people here. So I'm curious, while I do this, what networks are you guys already a part of? Like associations. We'll start with associations.
I'm just a part of NAPS. Our state association isn't active.
All right, right. You're gonna do something about that though, aren't you?
Maybe later.
I like that. Yeah, focus on your own business and yourself. Like it kind of sound bad coming out, but it's a true. Your business, you have to focus on, you have to focus on your business. That's the key. All right, good, good, good. A little bit of engagement there. All right, so the first one is and I'm going to do a whole video about getting organized on your Google search. Because remember, Google is the #1 network and data provider. People like to think about networks and affiliates as just like being like other process serving companies. No, 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 no. You got to see this much bigger from a marketing perspective. Google and YouTube are the largest search engines that are out there. The problem is, if you want to be found in the largest search engine, I want you to imagine, you ever go to these hotels and they have these giant rooms. I'm gonna come back to this in a second. And they have these giant rooms where they're like banquet halls, and you walk in. Have you ever been to one? There's a conference and there's literally 500 people in the room. Okay, that's Google. You walk into that room, Google is huge, and then they lock the doors behind you, and all the people in there are on Google. The good news about being on Google is now you're in the room. So if you wait long enough, you're going to meet the right person that's going to be able to help you in your business inside that room if you were networking, right? And that's the same thing with Google. If you're on Google and you're getting reviews and you're on there long enough and you're checking all those boxes, Google is going to show you and rank you in your local area. So you're like, okay, but what does that mean? Well, let me show you. So what we're going to do is Google in this giant room, because you're on Google, bear with me, I just got a Mac, so I'm learning to use it. So I have the directory here. Obviously, this is one of them, but one of the biggest ones, ServeNow, Proof, Naps, a lot of these that we're going to get into, they have a network of process servers. And remember, at first we're just talking marketing here. Okay, Google is the giant room, but inside that room are all the people who are on this platform, all the people who are on this platform, all the people who are on this platform. Everyone who's in another platform, all these platforms, they're also inside of that room. So when you're inside that room and you're also on ServeNow, because ServeNow has a high domain authority and Naps has a high domain authority for process servers, what happens is you become taller. Now, inside this giant room called Google, Google sees you, the room sees you as an 8-foot tall person. And then let's say you're not just on ServeNow. Now you're also on CalsPro and FAPS and NAPS, and you have these links that are going to your website. And that website, the big website ServeNow or whatever, they're linked back to you as well. So it's not just you're linking ServeNow. It's like they have a high domain authority and your website has a low domain authority. It's that they're linking to you as well. So that's why it's called a backlink. And what happens is it makes you look taller. So let's say somebody's looking for somebody in Washington. If they're looking for somebody in Washington and you're an 8-foot tall person with Washington hat, everyone has a hat with where they're located, right? And you're an 8-foot tall person with Washington on your hat. It's a weird example, I know, but you're on Google. They see you better than they see everybody else. Google sees you as more relevant and bigger and stronger. And so they rank you higher on their platform. They make you taller. Okay, it's the same thing. Now, if I'm on Serve now and I'm on Naps and I'm on Kalispro and I'm on Faps and and what I learned this the hard way, unfortunately. But because I just would try everybody and everything. I tried Yext, I tried Yelp, I tried Yellow Pages, I tried yellowpages.com. I tried all these different ones. You learn which ones are kind of a scam. Yellowpages.com, complete scam. They basically have you fill out a card, they send it off. They give you a listing in a place that you can't even find online. I did ended up finding it, but it's like no one else is finding it. And then what happens is if you put additional categories on the card, like accidentally, you say like I'm a process server, I'm a private investigator, you start writing all these, they end up billing you for each of them. And since they have your card, they just charge you. And so I tell people stay far, far away from yellowpages.com. Now Yelp or which I think are they calling it Yext now? Yext. Yext is one of the best platforms, but it costs money. Did I put it on here yet? Let's see. We'll get to those. But actually I'm not going to go to that yet. So if I'm on Serve now and I have a directory, it's linked back to my website. My website I look taller on Google, right? I rank better. Proof is an example of a company that started off doing this very well. I knew the guys when they very first got started. It was a software company. They went to a Texas conference that I was at, and they were just kind of picking people's brains. I got to talking to one of them, and he was saying that essentially what they did was obviously they were on Google. They started as a process. They were called something different, and it was a process serving company. And then they partnered with a software who already had the similar idea, and they became Proof. So they already had a network of process servers, and so they're trying to be the Uber essentially of. That's the way I understand it, but you don't need to be on them. But I just wanted to show you them as an example of somebody that you're going to have to compete with. You're going to have to compete with them. You're going to have to compete with ServeNow or InfoTrack, if you want to call it. And so rather than compete with them 100%, get on their platform however you can, if you can get a link back to your website, because that's going to let Google know, oh, these people are a part of the conversation. So when people say, do I need a website? I can't even answer that question. It's like, if you don't know you need a website in 2024, we're literally past the little mark on the DeLorean. We've passed it. The DeLorean, if going to the future, what was it? Does anyone remember what the DeLorean said when in Back to the Future when he got in the car and it was like went to the future? I think it was like 2013 or something. We're past it. It's time to have a website if you don't already have one. All right. So get organized.
2015.
What's that?
2015?
Yeah. Yeah, that
October
sounds right.
15, 2015, I believe it is.
Yeah, that sounds right. That sounds right. So when it comes to these platforms, it's Google ranks them very high because attorneys are visiting them at scale. And that's actually the plan for Mighty Process Server is to draw in the attorneys who are actually looking for process servers. And then I will already have a bank of process servers to give to them for, and have like a Yelp type experience where they can just contact them immediately. ServeNow did a really good job at that in the beginning. And then now they've sold to essentially our direct competitor, InfoTrack. And of course, InfoTrack's huge. So they can send you business. They can be a great partner for you while you're first starting out as an affiliate. And so I'll touch on that really quick because I think that's really important for new people, especially should I go here? Let me just go here real quick. Yeah, let's go here. So Ken Hastings, love that guy, California. All these guys are California folks that you see on here, all Kalispro people, because Kalispro was one of their big guys. So early on in my business, as a process server, I started a podcast. It's called Process Server Daily, and I changed the name of it to Mighty Process Server to match my brand. But these guys gave me a huge boost, and I'll tell you why. They had, of course, they had this platform. It's like a directory, But they also, a lot of people don't know, they own Law Talk, Law Talk Network. They started a podcast hosting platform for all attorneys, for law firms. And then law firms that they could immediately, because they had a list of all the law firms listening to the podcast, they could retarget them and market them for ServeNow and for Serve Manager and stuff like that. So they've been double dipping for quite a while. It's not a bad thing. It's just business, to be honest with you. But if I want to have something served in Roanoke, Virginia, we'll pick on Jeff.
That's
Yeah.
fine.
Okay, Virginia Court Services. Boom. Okay. Just to drive home the point that I was trying to make earlier. If we got to get your new logo on there, buddy.
Yeah,
You could just email them, they'll switch it out.
yeah.
So yeah, judiciary. Okay.
Oh, yeah, none of those people are in this area.
Oh, really? They're
None
like
of them are, none of them are in Roanoke. Well, Blue Ridge is the only one, but sorry. I misspoke.
Yeah.
But the other six are not. They're up in Northern Virginia and,
Mhm. How funny. Yeah,
they're
how
really,
funny.
well, they're spending the money for all those different city listings.
Yeah, and that's a great point. So like if they're spending money on it, they must be getting business from it, or they're going to
That means they're
eventually
taking the
stop.
food off of my kids' plate.
Yeah. Well, that's how it works.
I
You can
know, I know,
you can pay the money
I
and,
know.
and I know it sucks, but that's just how it is, and these other guys, I mean, that you could eventually expand into their areas as well. I mean, you're Virginia,
Yeah, I'm gonna do it. I don't care what Charlie says.
Yeah. I mean, well, when you have friends like that in the business too, you can partner with them. You could market better than him, get all the business, and then send it to him.
No, he's very happy. He's getting a lot of work for me. So
Exactly. That's why.
he's
So,
very happy.
so this just to keep going on the training here, because I love this, the perspective that you have, Jeff. Um, there's a couple things that I want to point out that we're talking about here. One is the greatest value that you have here is this right here. Sure, they're going to call you. Sure, you're going to get some people that find ServeNow and they go down the directory and just find you. Sure, some people will message you, but the biggest value you have here is that this link on their platform on ServeNow, they have a high domain authority, meaning that if you're listed and tied to the domain, you're going to rank higher if and only if your website is linked to ServeNow, to this link right here. This is going to be a hard thing for some people to understand, so I want to make it very simple. On your website somewhere, wherever you have a directory listing like this, and there's a link. It doesn't have to say your website. It could even just be this link right here. Wait, what is this link? What is it? Where does this go? Oh no, oh yeah, it is. Okay. So somewhere on your website, it doesn't even have to be a prominent place, but it should be on the homepage somewhere. It should say, it should be like a link, directory listing, ServeNow directory listing, something. Now, you don't have to market them. I'm not saying that you're promoting ServeNow. It's actually the opposite. You do not want to just promote ServeNow. You don't want them to go to ServeNow and find another server. What you want is for this link to be backlinked to ServeNow. So that's the technical part of it, because now Google says, "Oh, these guys are tied together. These guys are backlinked together," and then that makes you the 8 foot tall person in the room. If you want to be a 10 foot tall person, I'll give you the 13 foot tall person where everyone sees you, where Google sees you as the top spot. You just find another directory. So I want to show you what that looks like really quick. Let me go back. Where was that? Let me just go to Google. Process server Roanoke VA. I always spell this wrong. Okay. So without going into a full-on Google ranking thing, I'm kind of already teaching about that, but I'm teaching about the SEO part of it. Because remember, this is about affiliate networks, and there's a couple of the networks that are super important that I'm gonna go on here and talk about. So obviously the map pack is the best spot to be in. Okay. The next best spot to be in is right here. So these guys are doing something right. The next question I would ask is, did I spell this? Okay. Yeah. Okay. So the next question I would ask is, this is called FAQ schema right here. That's what this is. For those of you guys that were on the call the other day and you're like, what is that? This is schema. So on-call legal, Zip Recruiter. I would steal this from them as fast as possible. I would do an article about that.
Bastards.
How's Zip Recruiter rank above process servers? LinkedIn. Yeah, LinkedIn articles are really powerful. So if you write an article on your website, you can put it on LinkedIn because LinkedIn has a high domain authority. All the social medias do, by the way. This law office wrote a blog article and marked it a schema. Okay. So do you see all these questions? I tell you, I don't want to go down a rabbit hole, but on my websites, all of them, I do these. On yours too, Jeff, actually, I did, me and my son, this is what we spent all of our time when we worked on your website, is all of our time was dedicated to this, just answering questions that Google people might have on Google so that you show up for PIs in Virginia. Okay, so my point was we went to serve now. We're to 8 feet tall. Now we want to be 10 feet tall. So we go to Roanoke, Virginia. Jeff Spar, killing it. You already know what I'm going to have a problem with here. How are you supposed to be 10 foot tall when you're two people? You're two people here. So one person, I'm kind of getting onto you, Jeff. I'm not trying to, but Virginia Court Services is one person. And Roanoke PI is another one. So that's fine. You're gonna be 8 feet tall here and 8 feet tall there. It's much better that in my opinion, is and have this. It's okay to have this website, but on your directory listings where you get so much boost, use the same domain everywhere. And I would use Virginia Court Services there. That's a
There's a reason for that we discussed 6 months ago that I can't with naps. I can't. Has to be that.
really okay.
Has to be
Yeah,
that.
so you that just means you got two 8 feet tall guys. You could do is you could go to serve now and just you could change your serve now listing, this one would start to rank better, but it's for private investigation, whatever works for you, but just on a marketing level, that's the best way to go. So yeah, Naps and ServeNow for a long time have been really the only places you could go as far as associations really to rank. But CalsPro and some of these other ones have started to take notice of what Naps and ServeNow are doing. And if you search, if you're like, well, give me some more like tangible stuff. It doesn't get any more tangible than this. I don't live in Roanoke, Virginia. I search process server in Roanoke, Virginia. This is what I see. And when I scroll down, the first company I see is a local. These guys are local, right?
Yes, they are.
Okay, so I see a local company that is writing articles and doing things to rank. And Jeff, it's my goal for you. I don't know these people. It is my goal for you that you eventually take the spot. What's really cool is it could, if you're ranking really well, push this little questions down one and put you right here with them. Again, it's always most important to show up here in the map pack. There's 3 in the map pack. But after that, you want to show up right below that, and then here we go, at least, and then maybe show up above these guys or above these guys. And again, this is just Roanoke. If I search Virginia or I search a different city, I might get something different, right? And then we have ServeNow as a directory. Government websites, I kind of don't even think about those because they always rank really high. But on that note, let's talk about that for a second. So there's some networks that you want to be a part of, affiliate networks, you can call them, like ServeNow, Proof. Maps, all of these, that you can get the same link without having to pay that money. How do I get on ServeNow's website without having a directory? Any ideas? Yeah, I'll tell you. Since you guys are all so excited to hear it. Okay, so look over here where you see resources. They and here's the thing, they're not super active now. I don't know what they got going on. I know that the person I spoke to was like they're kind of just on autopilot right now, but they have a huge database of articles, 6 things process servers can't do. I want you to see something here. I didn't look this up ahead of time, so I don't know what I'm gonna see here, but trespassing. What I'm looking for, and this may not be an article that does it. Stephanie Irvine. I actually think she works there. There's quite a few articles that are written by process servers. Oh, here we go. ServeNow staff. So Stephanie is a process server. Let me see. I don't know where their blog is, their actual blog. Let's see here. But I've written articles for them and I don't know where to find them, but I have articles on here and I have lots of backlinks from them to my website. My podcast for a long time was on their website. It might still be. I don't know where they find that. But anyways, so that's a great way to write. If you write articles, free articles, and guess what? ChatGPT makes writing articles super easy. So if you want to get backlinks to these major affiliate networks like ServeNow or Naps. Let's see. Let's check out Naps real quick. On Naps, I know they have blog articles. Let's see. Let's click here. Roanoke, Virginia. Here you go, blogs, arbitration agreements. What's crazy about Naps is they've since Mike Kern took over their a part of their marketing stuff, their promotion, they really started ranking. They started spending a bunch of money on SEO as well. Let's see here. Okay. All right. So yeah, you can go and check out blog posts. You can ask them to just email them and say, "Hey, I'd like to write an article for you guys. Is that okay?" If you can't afford a directory listing yet, that's what you do. Okay. You write an article for them. And so I want to tell you guys the same thing. If you're like, Mike, I'm not ready to pay for your directory, it's $27 a month, going up to $47 a month, and it comes with all kinds of stuff. It's going up to 47 for people who sign up new. But if you can't afford that and you're like not ready for that, write an article. I'll put it on my website. If you write a really good article that talks about some rule in your area and it provides value that Google's going to love, that's worth something, right? And if someone finds it because it ranks on Google because it's a great article, then it's valuable for you. It's valuable for the people on my website searching for, process server in Virginia or process server in Washington or wherever, right? So I just think that's so valuable on both sides that people are willing to do that. And most of these companies are willing to do that. The California Association, the Florida Association, New York, Texas, if you just keep going, this is Colorado, PASACO. I think that's wrong, actually. I think it's PSACO. I have to look it up. But anyway, for each of these, off of our mastermind calls, I'm going to go through and actually highlight, and I might do some of these on the call too, with invite some people from those associations and do them. Like I know we have Jessica on, if you have somebody from your association, you said they're not very active. If you have somebody that wants to come on and talk about it, I would love to do a video and put them in here for each of these associations. I'll be in Texas, so I'm gonna do actually interview with the president of the Texas Association and live, and I'll put it on here. I'm not going to New York, but if I did, so if we know someone from New York that wants to do it, and of course Desi's in Florida, Um, Steve Glenn, I did an interview with him on the podcast. He's from Colorado. He sold his company. I think Magnum, or he sold the company and then started Magnum Diego, multi-million-dollar company. And I'll probably put his interview in there. And then if you're a private investigator, you want to have, I'm going to keep adding. We're going to go through and add a bunch of these here. So basically, the more links that you have related to when you're in this giant room called Google and you're taller, because so people can see you, it actually starts to look where someone comes in and they're just looking for someone in the legal industry. If you want to use colors, right? Some people are different color. You want to have it legal related. It needs to be related to legal services. You're like, well, there's this other thing, realtor association. That's not going to help you. Google categorizes with their algorithms what relates and what doesn't. So you want to have the links that are tied to specific legal services. Paralegal, attorneys, all of these are good. The American Bar Association, I know a guy, is Lance Randall down in Florida. He is getting licensed as a some kind of liaison, and he sits on the board, the American Bar Association. It's something regarding with the Florida one though. Florida Bar Association, something like that. And he's very active with all of the attorneys and stuff there. And he has personal relationships with those guys in Miami area, and his business is flourishing better than ever. Like if you understand the power of networking, it's just so powerful. So what questions do you guys have so far? Has any of this went over your head, or is it all just pretty much obvious?
It's semi most obvious.
Are you scrolling?
No, but something a few minutes back when you talk about going back a few minutes, sorry, Serve Now, Serve Manager, the link back to Serve Manager. You had mentioned 5 months ago to make sure that that link doesn't just go to Serve Manager, but it goes to your link on Serve Manager,
Right.
to
Yeah.
your specific link, so that, like you just said, so they don't see other names. Sure, they can scroll down, get to other names, but when you have the backlink, you want it to go to your listing versus just Serve Manager's directory.
100%. And also remember, it's metadata. You don't have to actually even have it on there. Like, I mean, you have it on there, but you don't even have to show it. Let me show you what I mean. So if you go to, let's go back to Jeff's bottom. Beautiful website, by the way, Jeff.
Desi, you and your son.
Yeah.
It's all you.
So what you could do is you could actually, what I've done in the past is down here where these links are, you could add another section and just put, directory link, and you can actually make them gray or like a grayish blue so that it barely shows up.
Yeah.
Google's still going to see it. Google's still going to count it as a backlink. You could also, this is another kind of not as good, but still really, if it's better than nothing, is to have another page, right? So you could say our affiliate partners or something, and it's not even up here at all. It's just on your website somewhere, not even where you see it in the links anywhere. Just on one page, it says our affiliate partners or affiliate networks or something like that. And it has just links of all of the places where you're linked. And then that way you could easily go back and find where the places because one of the other challenges is Google knows when you have broken links. So what happens when a directory listing expires and the link that you have back to that page doesn't work? It goes to a 404 page, an error page, right? Google knows that because Google crawls your whole website. So when it crawls your website and it sees broken links, it actually lowers your domain authority. So when you do this, you have to make sure that you have a way of checking it. So this is what I'm saying. If you had a page that was just those links, or you had a spot that was just those links, you could come every so often, just click them and let them open in a new window and see, okay, that one still works. That one still works. That one still works. Oh, this one doesn't work. What's going on with it? And you see the company, where the directory, where the listing was, or where the blog post was. they've decided to take your blog post down, you could email them, "Hey, I noticed that you took my article down." They're going to be like, "Who is this guy? And how do they know that their article was taken down?" You know? And that's another way to do it. But yeah, it should go to your direct to your direct listing. So let's talk really quickly about getting work from some of these. So I'm talking about marketing. Let's transition now into talking about actually how do you get work and where does work like new jobs come from, right? So and I don't want to focus too much on these. These are not necessarily should be the focus, but you can get a lot of work. So with ServeNow, you'll get work. They'll often just send an email with a quote through their system, which is what mine is going to do too. It gives a phone number, but also the idea that they can click on it and it'll do like a contact us form and it'll send it to you. ServeNow is the same way. Proof is more like a process serving company that will send you work and they want to call and ask your price and stuff like that. They're more of like a forwarding big box company. And ServeNow is becoming that, right? It's becoming what Proof is essentially with InfoTrack. Okay, what did I miss? Did I miss anything about that? What do you think, Jeff? What do you guys think? Did I miss anything about that?
No, not, I'm still on the same page with you.
All right. And then Naps essentially is a quote system, which I like, They actually kind of did something like Thumbtack. If those of you guys aren't familiar, that's another network you can become a part of. I don't recommend it, but Thumbtack essentially you put yourself on there as a service provider. Thumbtack will send out a quote request to 10 or 12 people at the same time. Naps does the same thing. You can choose however many people and it'll let you click them all. It'll send out a quote request to all these people. And then the person who replies with the cheapest price gets the job. That's how it usually works. But if you're smart, when you reply to any Naps or quote, you make sure that you have a signature in your email. This is directly from some of the top companies and Naps that send work out. Do not reply with a number that says 35 or something. If I send you a Naps quote request for a job in your area, and I have this big old email where I'm like, please provide this information, let us know how much you charge, right? Because you're your own company. You're not going to work for me as an employee. You're your own company. So if I send a Naps quote request, I have a template for it, and I send that out, and you guys, you send me back a thing that says 35. I know I can make money if a lot of money if you serve it for 35. That's great. You want to give me an affiliate rate, even if 45, 55, 65, 75, I'd still make money because I'm charging 147, right? And this happens a lot. There's much bigger companies that charge the same amount and they send out thousands of jobs, right? But if you reply 35 and you have no email signature, you have to understand, to me, it's not just about the money. It's also about time, my time, and having to follow up with you. If you have no email signature and you do not reply right away, or you just don't seem professional, there's a chance that I'm going to send you this job only to have to send it to somebody else in a week. So it's essentially $35 I've wasted. Like, well, what's a big deal with the email signature? You know who I am. You emailed me, right? It's because it's professionalism. It's like basic decorum. I hope that makes sense to people. It's almost like showing up to a funeral in a wife beater. Okay. You don't have to be the nicest dressed person, but how much disrespect do you have for somebody if you show up in a wife beater? You know what I'm talking about? Maybe not everybody knows what that is. It's like a slingshot shirt. It's like you know, me and my examples this morning. Okay, and then it's sad, but none of these other ones provide anything like that. None of these other ones really provide anything like that. And I think that process serving is the most underserved market when it comes to technology. It's only now coming out where like InfoTrack is buying all these technology companies, buying one of the biggest, most prominent process serving companies in California because they started e-filing. One Legal started e-filing there in California. So they bought One Legal, bought Green Filing, bought these companies. They put it all together. They call it InfoTrack. It's a huge global company. and then proof, and then so it's only just recently in the last year or so that things are starting to move very quickly in the legal space. It's why I've decided to create a directory, because I will serve the process serving industry like nobody ever has, but also these bigger companies have they don't have the ability. They have the money if they wanted to pay somebody to do what I'm doing, of course, but they won't, because there's not profit in it. There's not like millions of dollars in it. And so they won't do it. They won't do it. So some of them already have a foothold, but it's no longer their focus, right? So these other associations, let's talk about that for a second. These other associations, their primary duty, and the reason why you don't really get work from them is because their primary duty is to uphold the professionalism and keep the actual industry alive in that local state. Now, some of you may not know this. It's really important to know this. In your local state, you're a process server. There's certain laws for being a process server in your state. If for some reason, these collection agencies, some of my biggest clients, they will send work and they pay you a lot of money. They actually get paid when they get judgments against debtors. And the only way to get a judgment against a debtor, someone who owes money, is to serve them. And if the law changes where they could send it by certified mail, which in a way is, in most cases, not all cases, but in most cases reasonable, because they have to sign for it, right? If I buy an iPhone and it shows up at my door and the UPS guy wants me to sign for it, I'm signing for it, right? If it's a letter, I don't know what the letter is. The UPS guy doesn't know what it is either. He's serving, right? So in many, many cases, you could make a case that they're right, in my opinion. And in many cases, in some other cases, the minority of cases, they're not right. In minority of cases, there's people not paying child support and stuff like that that need more they need the Jeffs out there to go find them and serve them right. So the associations, whenever they have an issue, like let's say you guys may not know this, but I'm not an expert in this at all, but I'm just going to tell you what I know is I know in Hawaii they were going to pass a law like this that did not require a process server to have to deliver something. And so it was going to downgrade the process serving profession in Hawaii. Andy Eston, who is process server registration number 1 in Los Angeles, he wrote half of the civil code of procedure. He's like been around forever. He has the same investment advisor as Warren Buffett, just a treasure in the industry. And he'll tell stories about serving at the Playboy Mansion and stuff like that. And it's just like he's such a character. Well, him and Bob Musser of FAPS found out about this thing, and so he called Bob Musser of FAPS and the National Association of Professional NAPS paid and funded the whole operation for them to go and speak at this. They were doing like an open mic thing talking about, what they call a city hall or like a thing to discuss whether this is a bill that should be passed. And they showed up and was like, absolutely not. This is why. And because the Hawaii folks didn't have anybody, as far as I know, they didn't have anybody that was going to be able to speak on it. So if you were a Hawaii process server, they saved your job. They saved it. All right. CalsPro has knocked down 10 mailing bills from these collection companies. So anyway, that's my sales pitch for become a member to support your association to save your profession. That's why you do it. When you can afford it. If you can't afford it, don't do it. But if you can afford it, do it. Especially if you're in California. And if nothing else, become a NAPS member, because NAPS, they're just so good with their money too. What Andy and these guys have done, they've taken probably a couple $100,000 over the last 10 years, 20 years and turned it into they have a lot of money. The NAPS has a lot of money for lobbying and helping keep the profession alive. If you're like, well, Mike, yeah, but is that really just your opinion? No. California is the only state, because they have such a such a strong lobbyist in Calspro. They have made me millions of dollars. And the way they did it was they said anyone who wants to e-file has to use a process server to do it. Think about that. That's crazy. In most states like Texas and Florida and places like that, you just e-file. But in California, they say, whoa, you want to e-file? You got to use a process server. They got the bill passed and they kind of got around it. They call it electronic filing service provider. So it's an EFSP. I got an EFSP company. One of the first 30 that came out, 123efile.com, and it's made me a lot of money. And so I'm telling you, associations matter and they can make you a lot of money.
I'm also a provider as well.
Are you really, Ryan?
Yep.
Which one is yours?
It's well, I do mine through InfoTrack, but I do when I receive it, I just charge like
Oh, I
$5 or
see.
$10 over. Depends on the service.
Yeah, I just saw you switched devices, huh? You came on your camera?
Yeah, I just got into my office.
Oh, cool, man, cool. Well, hey, it's nice to meet you and welcome.
Thank you. I appreciate it. So
Yeah, no,
I mean, between 7 and 8, I try to get to here to the office, and again,
Yeah.
switching device was a chore. I mean, I had to sign back in. On my system, I use Ring Central. It's an easy switch.
Yeah, yeah, you're one of those. I'm just kidding.
I do want to make a comment real quick, if you don't mind, about ServeNow. And I've used ServeNow for years. I mean, we're talking about 4 years, and I probably maybe, and I'm not sure what's going on maybe in the San Diego area, but I really only got maybe 4 or 5 jobs in a year where I get that in almost a week at NAPS.
Yeah.
So, and I was
Yeah.
spending like $80 a month for it. And I just gave up on it. I mean, I just didn't see the real value. And now I used to send jobs, sure, but not so much to receive job.
Yeah, and I think that's a theme. I think it's a theme. And the reason why is because the people who are in NAPS who've been sending out work, they've been in the business forever. Like you look at the Janie and Janies, the Kerns, they only use NAPS because if you don't serve it, they want to be able to use the arbitration and grievance policy to be able to get you to get that proof over, to get you to act or whatever. And it's just kind of like an insurance, I guess. But also that's just what they've done forever. And there's some people who still want the big giant book of servers.
Right.
And that's where they flip. They give it to their office people and they go, find a server in this area, go here first. No matter if you have to pay a little more, go here first because this is our network, right? I think so. Yeah, I think that's the reason why. Now, ServeNow is more of like ServeNow is more of like it's a directory, right? And I think they missed the mark when they just let anybody join. That's how they started. They
Right.
just would let anybody join, and anybody and everybody join, which I understand why, because they're more of a marketing company. But then having hindsight, I look back on it and I'm like, but how many servers do I know that I would never send work to that I can find on ServeNow?
Oh, absolutely.
So there's no level of like, confidence in them. This is why with my directory, I'm doing like, member verified. Like I'm looking at every person, vetting them. I'm not like going and doing background checks, but I'm making sure that like they're on the platform. And if there's any issues, I'm actually going to refund their customer if they use my directory. And that's a commitment I want to make because I want to compete with these other directories, not as a directory, but more of as like a membership of people, kind of like NAPS. But I think that I love NAPS. I think they're a great organization. Like I was just saying, I think that there's room for more people to support the industry
Right.
in different ways. But yeah, California is a great state. I built my first business there, and you can definitely make a lot of money. What area are you in again?
I'm in San Diego.
That's right, you said that. Yeah, I love San Diego. I'm actually going to be there. I'm going to go to the San Diego Zoo. Have you been?
I haven't yet.
Really? How
I've
long have
been
you
here
lived
for
there?
6 years and I haven't got a chance to get there yet. I'm going to have to.
I lived in Orlando, didn't go to Disney for 3 years, and then went right before I left. That's so
Oh,
funny.
if you're ever in town, let me know.
Yeah, I'm gonna be there. Let me share my screen again. We actually have this is good for people to see. We actually have up here on the calendar section. I've actually started using it for anything process serving related. I'm going to be there on
Oh, I see it.
the 14th. So Mighty Mike on the road. Yeah, we're gonna go to San Diego. I'm gonna meet up with some other folks there. Do you know Robert Parambo?
Robert, what was the last name again?
Parambo, he's with Knox. Knox.
I think I recognize the name, but I'm not sure.
Yeah,
I might know him by face because isn't he part of Calspro?
he's part of Calspro. Yeah, he's
I've
probably
seen Calspro. Are you going to Calspro in Sacramento?
yeah, I'll be speaking at the conference and doing a networking thing there.
I'll be there. I'll be going there too.
Yeah, that'll be fun. Well, it'll be nice to meet you.
Yeah, absolutely. I
In
mean, I'll
person.
meet you in San Diego too, wherever you're going to end up at.
Yeah, I'm gonna definitely want to check out the zoo and I got my three kiddos. I'm bringing them back to their mom. We do 3 months on, 3 months off. Just keep doing that homeschool.
Nice.
And yeah, so it'll be cool to go see the beach and go see San Diego, zoo, and then we're gonna head up the coast and go take our time and go end up in Sacramento. She lives just north of Sacramento, about 2 hours north, Chico Corning area, north of Sacramento. So
Okay.
yeah, yeah, that'll be fun. That'll be fun. Yeah. Well, let's see what time we got. 9. Okay, yeah, we got a little bit more I want to cover here. So I just wanted to give an overview. I wanted to get through some of the more boring links and marketing stuff. This is some of the techno babble. Unfortunately, it's important though. It's important. Like you will see rankings. I did an article that said the top 50 business listings that you need to get on. I'll add that in here actually. Do so I don't forget. Let's see. Is this gonna work? Um, I think my computer might be thinking. There we go. And top 50 article. Because I think that's going to be really big. That's going to be really important. Yeah, you want to get listed on all of these. You want to get organized. And this is where when you do the article, I'm actually going to do a video where I'm going to show you guys basically break down in this section, you'll see it. It's going to have the 50 article, but it's also going to have, you should have all of your links ready. Like when you go to like a NAPS listing, if it gives you an opportunity to add more links, you should fill this up with as many links as it'll let you have. Like if it'll let you have your Instagram, your Facebook, your LinkedIn, this is what I mean by get organized. We're going to go over that. You'll have a full video on that. Mighty Process Server. I'll talk about the articles and stuff. ServeNow. Basically, I might even change this to InfoTrack because essentially these two companies will send you work. And there's a bunch of other companies that'll send you work too. If you actually just this is something I like to show people. If you search for process server, let's do San Diego since we were just talking about that. Okay, if you do process server San Diego, California, if you look at, there's nobody running ads. What is today? Today's Monday. Monday morning, 9 a.m. That's surprising. 9 a.m. You would think interesting. I don't know, maybe I have a setting and it's keeping people from running ads or something. I don't that's weird. San Diego's a huge city to not be running any ads. That's strange that ABC and these guys wouldn't run any ads. But you have some people with a lot of reviews, Rockstar, that are pretty well established. Yeah, usually you'd see ABC running ads, but maybe since they're already ranking really high there, or that might be a sign of something they're doing differently. But this is a good example. My friend Mike Kern, his company is Direct Legal, and he markets Jeff, he markets in San Diego, but he's in Los Angeles. Like let's click on this link really quick. Let's see. San Diego, California process server. That's the title. So it shows up. And this is an article only for Google. It's just a little one, but it's only for Google. It is all text for Google. A lot of people think about their website and they're like, yeah, but if you actually read it, it's just San Diego process servers, latest technology, San Diego documents in San Diego. It's just for Google. And does it work? Does it work? I'm in New Mexico, process server San Diego. Did the article work? Yes. The article worked 100%. He's showing up right underneath these companies, some of the, you know, oh yeah, so what I wanted to tell you, which it didn't work actually because nobody's running ads here. But what I was going to say is if somebody's running ads, it's a perfect type of company to reach out to as a new server because they're going to, here you go. That's so surprising San Diego's not having any. I might run ads there. Nobody's going to run ads because ads are an auction. And whoever's willing to pay the most amount of money wins the auction. That's how they work. So if nobody's running ads, you could potentially get at the top of Google in that area for $2 a click versus $24 a click, right? Which is what it usually costs. So Los Angeles, California process servers trusted by okay, ABC. Okay, a lot. So these guys right here. So I would start off if I was in LA, and I know we do have some folks in LA, not on the call, but we do have some folks in the community. I would actually I'm not watching the chat here. Sorry guys. Blown away with what I'm hearing.
Oh, that was 40 minutes ago when you were running on Server Manager, but that was 40 minutes ago.
Oh yeah. Sorry.
10:28. Yeah, that was almost an hour ago.
Okay, can't afford it. All right, good stuff. Sorry about that. I'm gonna keep that up.
I thought I was on the wrong channel.
Where do you put a page like that on your website? Oh yeah, you just have an extra page, Jessica. You could just have like a it's like I said, it's a page you don't need to see. It could be called your links page actually. You just have another page that's not linked on your links above. It's just Google sees it. Google crawls your entire website and they know what you're linked to. Okay. I can't afford not to. Yeah, no, Jeff, in relation to what you're saying, yeah, no, I'm not a big Serve Manager, ServeNow proponent at all anymore, but um, just because obviously they sold to the biggest big box company, and I'm at a stage where I'm not as big as them, but I'm also not going to serve for $25 a serve, right? So, but somebody who's new, I don't want to take that away from them. If somebody's brand spanking new and they're getting started, or even their first year, like, yeah, do it. Go serve, go get that $25 a serve like I did. Make that $4,000 a month. Just running like crazy, serving here, serving there. You're going to learn how to serve all the papers. You're going to learn how to do all the proofs. You're going to learn what not to do, who doesn't pay on time. You're going to go through so much in that first year that's going to really, I say, cut your teeth on the business. And then you can start making choices of like, I think you need to order on my website. Send people to your website, have them pay that extra fee, have them pay those extra whatever your website rate is. But affiliates, they can be a great way to get you started. And so if you called ABC, they're gonna immediately think about that for a second. How many people do you guys know that are like either unemployed or they're employed, but they don't make enough money? They can immediately go make an extra 30, 40 bucks every single night working for these guys. Is that good for our industry? I don't know. You can't, I don't control the industry. It's just like politics. Well, this person should win because this. Now, I can't control it. You can't control. All you can do is what you can do for your own business and go from there, depending on the stage that you're in. We Serve Law. I've seen them a lot. But I've never worked for them. I don't know. Los Angeles processor.com. $50 process service. Probably don't want to work for them. Maybe 50 bucks. They'll probably pay $10. Who knows? But yeah, call these people. And this is essentially the same thing I did for attorneys, right? Is I searched, we're not going to go too far into this, but this is one of my favorite things to do. If they're running ads, they got money to pay you. Hart Levin, he's got money to pay you. Sharon Hakem, sorry. Sharona. Sharon. I just butchered her name like crazy. Wilshire Law Firm. They got money to pay. Why? Because they're spending 30, 40, 50, sometimes $75 per click. Law firm ads are expensive. I used to run ads for law firms. Okay, so this is one of the things on my list right here. If you look over here, so if you go down here, there's some ones that aren't as, so we got the PI ones that we haven't talked about too much.
Where is that list? I've been trying to find it for 20 minutes.
So this is still in draft mode.
Okay, that's what I figured.
Yeah. I could release it under out of draft mode, but
No, because there was something on there I wanted to follow up on, which had to do with investigators under further
Oh, yeah.
down there. There
Right
was
here.
the National Association of Legal Invest. Yeah, I was looking for that, but yeah, you just answered the question. Nash-
You know, I can make
National-
these. I can make these. I'll just delete this one. Yeah, it's just not clean. It's not that clean yet, you know. So,
Yeah, NALonline.org, I think it said.
there you go. I made that one public for you.
Okay,
Yeah,
Yeah,
I'll make
'cause
this
I
public too.
I'd have an interest in that.
Yeah, all of these ones these are ones that I just pulled from my list of ones that I was members of before. And so there's a lot of other ones too that we'll
There
add
you
in.
go. Thank you.
Yeah, no worries. And if you guys come across ones that you're like, why don't you have this one? Let's talk about it. Like I would love it. How much time I got here? Yeah, I got 15 more minutes. So, okay. So paralegal associations, let's talk about that real quick. Paralegal associations are the best places to go if you want to spend money. If you really want to, you got a little money to spend before you start dumping money into Google, go sponsor something. I know Jessica just sponsored an event for some folks. Which I would love to hear, Jessica, when you're available or have some feedback on. But these types of events, it allows you to be the person. Now, the guy that I love that just does such a good job at this is Mike Kern. He will sponsor their luncheons like on a monthly basis for some of these firms that have 30 or 40 different law firms that each have 2 or 3 paralegals, these huge firms in Los Angeles. And what he does is he doesn't just go buy it because that's like just a waste of like you're just buying them food and they don't know who bought it. Instead, what he does is he goes to the places where they're going to have a training where they're doing CE credits, and he gets certified as somebody who can do a CE credit for them. And he teaches them about e-filing. Can you imagine? I've never done that. I've always wanted to. Maybe at some point I will. I would love for one of you guys to go down this road and like, I would even try to help you with it, depending on what it was, right? But for e-filing, because it was becoming mandatory in all these cities, he started going to all these paralegal associations where they were specifically teaching about e-filing. And he's an e-filing provider. And he's going in and saying, look, this is the 3 most common mistakes that people make when they're trying to e-file. Here's how to avoid them. Go to my website to get the download, which actually shows you and walks you through step by step how to use the e-filing platform. I actually have an e-filing platform, Direct Legal, blah, blah, blah. It's just genius marketing because now what happens when the person comes on and uses your e-filing platform? It's gonna ask them if they want to have it served. So now they're serving for it. So for what he did, it was just genius. How do you apply it to your local area? What are the things that are going on in your local area? You know, maybe it's just service of process. Maybe you simply get up there and you say, this is why I love judgment recovery, because you can get up there and say, you know, who here is owed money? You know, I always do that at conferences. Raise your hand if somebody owes you money. And they're like, okay. How many of you guys are certified as either a debt collector or a judgment recovery specialist who can actually go collect debt? Nobody raises their hand. You're raising your hand. I love it, Brian. But in conferences, nobody raises their hand. And I'm like, you know, in most states, you don't even have to be certified or have any kind of a thing to collect on a judgment, because a judgment is the judge already said this needs to be collected. This person won, pay, and the person's just not paying. So you can take that judgment, get a writ of execution signed by the court. Ryan, I'm sure knows this, if not just as much, probably better, take that writ down to the sheriff's department and they will do whatever the writ tells them to do. Whether it's evict the person from the house, whether it's take it to the bank. Every state's a little different too, so you got to look at your local laws, but there's a process that once the judge says that the person won a certain dollar amount, it's collectible. The bank will, if the judge says so, the bank will levy their account for a certain amount of money. They will garnish their wages a certain percentage, 25%. Every state's a little different, right? But these are things that as a process server, you could speak on, you could learn about and speak on with authority. Because as a process server, especially in the civil world where people are suing people, someone's going to lose. And when that someone loses, they're going to owe an amount. And more than 80% of the time, that person doesn't pay the other person right away. And they have to end up going after them and doing judgment recovery. So it's one of the things I love to do, especially in real estate. We're going to talk about more in the future, but let me see. I might be able to make this one. Why is it moving up? Let me see. There we go. Okay. I don't know why it scrolls up like that. So weird. Okay, so these ones are ready. I'm gonna do a video about them, but because I've actually all of these ones I have joined and participated with these ones. Yeah, that one's funny. Okay. All right. So that's pretty much paralegals associations are huge. Let's see, Jessica. I don't know how it went, and it was pouring down rain. Oh, it was pouring down rain at the golf tournament. Yeah, that's tough. Did they cancel the golf tournament? I'm curious. So she sponsored a golf tournament for one of these events. If they cancel the tournament, you should be able to get your money back. I would tell them I don't expect my money back, but I do expect that you'll include me in a sponsorship in a future date because obviously nobody on the golf course saw our stuff. You just don't want to burn the bridge, you know. So I mentioned Justia. So Justia is one of those platforms that you definitely want to become familiar with. Essentially, it's like a directory, but they have basically if there's a link about it, they include it, right? They're like kind of like a news place. They just have everything on here. So if you can write articles for these folks, you can submit articles every day of the week, and they actually have a super high domain authority, which is really surprising to me. I don't know why it's surprising to me because they're linked to everybody and everything. But law firms use them like crazy to find things, to find case law. See all these cases, Apple lawsuits, Facebook lawsuits. It's definitely something to become familiar with. See over here, sponsored links. Each of these guys, I mean, this is Phoenix, I guess. I'm curious why it's showing that. Oh, I think my VPN is in no. I guess that is the closest ones to me here. So anyway, it thinks I'm closest to Phoenix, Arizona, but you could find one by city right here. So you could go San Diego. Stay thirsty, San Diego. There we go. So Paul has 31 years of experience. Email or review profile, visit website. This is the pot of gold if you build websites. Or if you're a process server too. But these guys have money, guys. I hope you understand what I'm saying. This guy is paying for a premium listing. There's a guy, Grant Cardone in real estate. He says, who's got my money? He's kind of like funny about it. And he rubs a lot of people the wrong way, but he says like, who's got my money? Like, you know, because he's going to go do something. He's going to give them a service. They're going to pay for a product or a service, and then he's going to get that money, right? That's exactly what I'm saying. Paul Danziger is in court on a regular basis for his cases. When he shows up to court, the very first thing that the presiding judge sitting up there says is, Miss Counsel, do we have a signed proof of service on file. I don't see it here. Paul, did you bring one? Paul's a distinguished attorney. Uh, it should be in there. You are a valid, like a super important part. Now, some of you guys are like, I already know this, but I'm just driving it home. You are a super integral, important part of Paul's daily life. If you don't do a good job, he looks like an idiot. And so this is why they're not just going to hire you because you call them. You have to call them and be the backup. So we're going to go into that later, but so Justy is a great place to find those folks and to write articles. Because if I kind of jump around, but I want to make the point, because if Paul, wherever he went, there he is. If Paul is a premium member here, do you think Paul finds Justy valuable? Yes, he finds it valuable. Yeah. Uh, I love the feedback, Ryan. Okay, I can see you there. I'm like, yeah, exactly. He finds it valuable. And so if you write an article and you're in Los Angeles or San Diego in this case, and he sees your article, he's gonna know. And he's gonna know that you're that local person. And it's not gonna be just one time, it's gonna be multiple times of him seeing you, you're calling him, you're sending him your rate sheet, you're saying, hey, just want to follow up with you, see how things are going with you and the team, and blah, blah. And the real truth is you'll probably never talk to Paul. You'll talk to Julie, who works for Paul, and she handles all of his calls, but not his process serving. And then she's going to hand you off to somebody else who handles all the serves, right? That's probably how it's going to go. But it starts with Paul because he's the one with the money bags. Okay. All right. So that's just we'll go into that more later. Find law, very similar. Find law is very similar to that. Let's see here. Associations. I did mention on the associations, essentially you can join them, but the hack is to just write an article for them when you first get started. Notaries. The cool thing about notaries is they're like process servers, but they're so integrated into the real estate space that they're better at marketing usually. Like they're marketing and you see they got websites and stuff. And if you put out something like a directory for loan signing, they sign up for it. I put out a thing in one of these notary groups and I got 600 people signed up for it the same day in like 2 days. Like they're very active in trying to connect with folks that they're a great resource for service of process. Excuse me. And a lot of people will hate me saying that, but if you can't find somebody in a certain town, a notary, especially if they don't have to be licensed, a notary public is somebody who, and I'm going to talk about this in the office training. This one here, we're going to go into this a lot in the work from home office training. So you can actually find local servers. This is my best resource. And the reason why is for those of you guys that are like, well, that's not professional. These people are usually have to be certified with the state. They have to pay for errors and omissions insurance. They have to show up to people's houses with a briefcase and paperwork and stamps. And they have to literally their actual job is the state's responsibility. They're responsible for what's it called? Basically fraud, right? Fraud, forgery, all this. Their job is to make sure that doesn't happen as a notary. I can't think of anybody better suited to help a process server get things done. And so if you're ever looking for a network, this is my hack. If you only showed up for this one thing, going to the National Notary Association, signing up for these things, getting to know the notaries, the notary groups. I wouldn't share this normally, but I'm sharing it with you guys that I can get notaries to serve papers for $10, $20. I just tell them, how much would it be? How much would you charge me? If they tell me $10, I say, well, I'll give you 20. How about that? Okay, good. I'll make it $147. Now I wouldn't do it if they weren't professional, if I didn't get a really good feeling that they were going to take care of it for me. And often if I send them 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 jobs, especially in California, I will tell them, hey, do you mind going and getting licensed, getting registered? I'll pay for it. And 9 times out of 10, you got to be careful with that too, because you don't want them to be considered your employee. but you can say I'll reimburse you through the serves that you do. Like I'll give you some extra money when you're serving, for me. Or I'll bump you up from $20 a serve to $25 a serve if you get registered, something like that. Like that makes more sense too, right? But you have to start thinking like this if you're going to compete against the ServeNows, the InfoTracks, the Proofs. You're going to have to start thinking like this because that's what they're doing, right? And then also on another note is like if you're a process server, no, we don't want to drive to the bottom. We don't want to drive. I would much rather pay one of you guys 50, 60, 70. I pay all the time. I pay $85 for services when I know I could find a notary in that same area for 20. Does that make sense? I still pay for it because I want to support those local process servers, but don't think that that you're ever not replaceable. It's hard news to hear, I know. It's hard news to hear, but it's true. And this is business 101. So you got to do your very best because you're only as good as your last serve, right? If you don't do a good job serving for somebody, they can just find somebody else. This is why I'm trying to teach you to find more business, new business. In real estate, one of the things, we got one more section here and we'll close out. But in real estate, one of the things that I learned that is so important is when you're cold calling, you're prospecting, you're reaching out to people, you oftentimes when I would be coaching some of the people on my team, they would say, Mike, I got this one deal and I'm trying to close it and this and that. And they'll have all this reasons and they're all upset and they're nervous and their anxiety levels are high. And they're like, I don't know, what am I supposed to do here? And there's like things I could tell them to do to try to close this deal with this real estate deal, right? But actually the problem isn't that this is a hard deal. It's that they don't have 10 more deals. So when you have one customer and the one customer you have is giving you a lot of problems, you need 10 more customers because you can tell that one customer, hey, this ain't working out the way you think it is, buddy. You need to pay more money or you need to do this a little bit differently. Let me work with you in this other way because it's not working out for me and my team this way. Does that make sense? Like you have more leverage and more options when you have more customers. So that's what that's the whole point of a lot of this stuff that I'm teaching is trying to show you like, hey, you can do it, but you're gonna need to put in some work. You're gonna need to find more customers always. Just keep filling the pipeline. All right. I started to partner with this guy that does a software and I really like this guy. I really wanted to do something with them, but developers have this way of lagging. It's like, you see the little loading thing, they load for too long. And I'm like, I don't have time to wait for people. I got to go and do my thing. And I will tell you, once their product is finished, if it's a good product, they almost always do really well on Google. And so these platforms like Clio, become familiar with them. You're like, well, it doesn't have to do with what I do. Yes, it does. Clio is one of the #1 real estate platform. I'm not real estate, attorney platforms. This is what paralegals and law firms use to not just prepare their documents, but also they just manage their cases from beginning to end. And one of the reasons why InfoTrack is doing so well is because they've actually integrated directly with Clio. And a lot of these other ones integrated directly with them. So when a law firm or paralegals on here and they're like, I want to send something out for service, there's an option on the side that says send for service, and it immediately allows them to send it out to a process server, and then InfoTrack handles it. So if you're wondering why they're doing so well, they actually partnered with these people so that they can do well, right?
Yeah,
Nice.
I'm on that as well. It's called the Servant Network.
There you go.
They got me listed as a preferred agency in Southern California.
That's so cool. Let's see.
At least that's what they told me anyway.
No, I believe they have some kind of an affiliate thing going on here.
Yeah,
But
like Boone Long, that's one of the big ones. Let's see, Hershey, Tyson Mendez, those are some of my larger clients. Dean Gazzo.
okay. I bet they have some stuff here. But just make a note of it and research. I love, Ryan, that you're already involved with that and you know about that. We definitely could dive into it. Feel free to share it. I don't like I've been pretty vocal about ServeNow, how they've gone down when it came to the serve manager because they were just so rude. Their customer service was just so bad, and they used to treat me like a king because I was bringing them hundreds of customers. And they sponsored my podcast and everything. And so, but I don't want to let my own biases, my own issues with them affect people and the work that they get. If you're going to get business from them and you're new or you're getting plenty of business through them, why not? If it makes sense to you, right? Sometimes it's getting volume too. Like, maybe you're only getting $15 a serve or $20 a serve, but it's all at the registered agent's office, and you go drop off 20 of them and $20 each, right? It's just business. And if it works for you, then I think it's great. Yeah. So networks, the last thing I wanted to go through here. Yeah, so Clio and some of these platforms, you get on them. So I think a lot of times we tend to think we're just on everything. We're on everything. We're doing what we need to do. But there's those companies, peripheral companies that you could be a part of, you could be listed on, you could get backlinks from them that will make you rank better. Believe me when I say that people in InfoTrack, there's an entire department, and not just info, I keep mentioning them, but there's other ones too, right? Proof. They're doing what I'm teaching you. They're saying, hey, how can we build a stronger relationship with Lawlytics? How can we build a stronger relationship with Clio? How can we build a stronger relationship with the American Bar Association? And what that means is not just relationship like somebody there, which is the most important thing. It's also can you get a backlink from their website? Can you eventually get the flow of business coming through them to you? And of course, Thomson Reuters, if you have TLO, you get the TransUnion and those guys, all these guys are connected. LexisNexis is pretty much across the board what attorneys use for skip tracing and some data management. LexisNexis is huge. Medical industry, everything, they're huge. LegalZoom affiliate program, they actually have an affiliate program. This is going to take some work if you decide to do this, but you can actually help people get their LLCs, not as an attorney, but as just somebody who promotes LegalZoom, basically, which I think is crazy. Like the idea that you as a processor of a legal services company could say, because people I create as a real estate person, every time we buy a property, we create an LLC for it. Boom, right here, LegalZoom. You can do it. You can get started. You can do it. So you can actually help people, by promoting LegalZoom, making money doing that. I started doing it. I didn't go down the road, so I can't really speak on it much, but I know that it's a great affiliate program. Rocket Lawyer is another one. So again, you got to be careful with this because if you have primary clients that send you a lot of money, you're kind of competing with them a little bit, right? Like you're promoting these online techie attorney replacement programs, basically, is what they are. So you want to be careful how you market this. I wouldn't market this like on your website. But it's definitely something you could get involved with because you'll understand. And in my opinion, eventually with AI and everything, attorneys, we're actually going to become more prominent than attorneys because a lot of an attorney's job is done with AI. Where you're going to need attorneys, which is good news for us, is in litigation because they need somebody to look at the case. How am I going to argue this to help you win? They're going to have to show up in court and argue your case. So there still will be litigators when AI completely, it's just, if you look at the technology scale and how it's just completely, it's just like going straight up, it's like so long our technology has been kind of like an angle and now it's straight up. How fast technology is developing is, more than exponential. And so I think eventually, even now, I can write complete privacy policies, complete terms and conditions, with AI for free. Imagine the paid products that are going to be coming out, right? Where AI can just like boom, 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 and it just like puts out puts out a thing, and then with attorney review, you pay an extra $200 like LegalZoom does. You pay an extra $200 and then they'll review it. Attorneys are going away. I'm telling you. So be getting involved with like Rocket Lawyer, these types of things. They're going to be where you're getting most of your business. It's like, hey, pay the $200, we'll review it, pay an extra, and click here to hire a process server. Boom, that's where you're getting your business. And InfoTrack and these other companies, they're going to be the ones that are, they're going to be the forefront runners probably trying to connect with them, because Rocket Lawyer, whoever it is, they don't want to deal with this individual, have a whole division of people just dealing with individual processors. No, they want to hire that one big company that pays for the giant insurance that will cover no matter what happens. That's who they're going to hire. And so I'm not giving good news. I know you guys, but this is just the facts here, folks. Just Mike's opinions mixed with facts. Okay. Some of it, who knows? So that's the affiliate networks. When it comes to the CallisPro, some of these other websites we could definitely get into, but I highly recommend, I'm going to give you one quick techie tip. I highly recommend when you become a member of some of these groups, even before you're a member, actually, you can search these places. So let's just search really quick, like three. Oh, there we go. I'll just search right here. Okay. So you have some of these guys, right? You can actually click on them. Think about this as a brand new process server. Without even being a member of NAPS, I can call this guy. I could call this guy and say, hey, I see you're on NAPS. I'm not on NAPS yet. I'd like to start serving here in Albuquerque. I honestly, I'll serve for like $10 a serve. And just, I want to learn the business. Do you think that this guy who maybe he's paying for a membership, do you think that he potentially would give you a shot if you were sincere? I'm not saying this is right for everybody, but the fact that this information is so readily available, this is why NAPS gets so much work, because they make the information readily available. So I'm definitely my directory, I'm definitely going to do something similar to that. But the other networks are very similar. If you go to CallisPro, the reason why this is the reason why you may not see it. Let's try the same thing. Well, this is New Mexico. 3, 2, 8.
Why don't you put in zip code 92123?
Let's see here. 92123.
Yeah.
92123. Nothing.
I should be on there. That's weird.
Let me see. Zip code radius. Let me try this. 92123.
Huh.
There you go.
Well, that might be something I need to check out because I thought I was on there.
Let me think. Contact or request quote from
I know
Solo.
that guy.
So there's Robert. He's with Knox. Let me hit refresh for a second. I'm curious about something. Interesting. So that's interesting.
Check out.
Yeah, no, definitely. Yeah, if you're paying for a membership, you're supposed to show up. Yeah. It says he's 1 mile from there. So it's interesting though that they don't refresh and resort the people. That's interesting to me. That everybody,
rotating them on the top.
yeah. You saw him rotate or no?
No, not at all.
Not at all, yeah. Larry, it is a special feature. It's going to cost me some money to add to mine, but it's important, I think. I think it's important. Here's Melody. She's awesome. You want to reach out to Melody. If well, it says she's here, but she's actually in Florida. She's like the main director for Provest on the West Coast. So she's somebody, if you reach out to her, she'll start sending you work tomorrow. She actually flew from Florida to meet me in Chico, California, and bought me breakfast when we first did a deal together. And we organized a deal where she's paying me $65 a serve, and my rate was 97, and my collection agency rates were like 59. And I told her, 97, I could go down to maybe 70, and she got me down like 65, something like that. But for an affiliate, it was a lot of work. I'm not saying I ended up firing that client because they wanted me to do the proofs in their system, but and when you scale, eventually that's what you have to do. You have to say, look, it's just not worth my time anymore. But when you first start out, oh my gosh, like you could get 3, 4, or 5 serves a day potentially from them. Provest is very busy. I think they just sold actually, but I'm sure she still works there. Jose Lewis, I know him from. I think we've sent him some stuff or something. I recognize him. Um, cool. Or maybe he was on the board that I was just on. Anyways, so here you go. So this is a great example of what they do, what some of the directories do is they'll be like, oh, I want to send something to him, to him, to him, to him, right? And then they'll come down here and they'll get okay. So then this is where they get your lead capture. This is how they capture you as a lead. Put your information in here, description of your needs, you hit submit. Now all those people will get an email saying, hey, this person wants more information on court filing and service. Oh, they should totally have a box here. Oh, I guess they have this one. So that's it. So guys, listen, I don't want to keep you any longer. We have a lot to cover here, and I'm going to go into it tomorrow. What I want to do is I want to dive into actually trying to get some customers from these folks. So if you have anyone on here that's new that or you just need more business like right away, I want to work with you. I want to make this more interactive, right? So today was an overview of everything. Tomorrow, what I want to do is if anybody wants to volunteer or I can pick somebody to actually use, probably start off with the associations and how to get new customers from them without being a member yet. Because some of these, I know NAPs, they've laxed their requirements a little bit, but you had to have a reference letter from another process server or 2 letters of recommendation, something like that, and 1 year in the business. It might still be that. I'm not sure. And so how do you do that if you don't know anybody in the business or anybody in NAPS? You call NAPS members and you say, hey, can I serve for you? I'm trying to become a NAPS member. I'm a new server. In my experience in CALS Pro and in NAPS, they're some of the most helpful people. They're like, well, what are you trying to do? How much money are you trying to make? Cliff Jacobs, a lot of people don't like him. I love the guy. He would call. I mean, I didn't like him always. There was a time where he worked for One Legal, and he was the one who kind of recruited me in Northern California. I met him at a CalSpro training, and they said one of these trainings, where you do they teach you the laws and stuff. CalSpro certified, and he was there, and I said, I'm ready to serve. I'm gonna go. Blah blah blah. And he's like, go serve 1,000 papers and then call me. And I was like, what, man? I'm gonna be the best. You don't even know. Like, I remember thinking, like, what do you mean? And it was about a year later that I had served about 1,000 papers a night. And I remember because he called me out of the blue. He's like, hey, I remember meeting you over there. How's it going? Have you reached your 1,000 papers yet? And he's just such a unique guy. And he taught me by grilling me about my services, like how often I would report the services by 9 a.m. Like I wouldn't put the details in by 9 a.m. the next day. And he'd call me and he'd go, Michael, he had this way about him, man. Like I knew if he called me, I'd be on the phone for 2 hours. So I started not answering and I would just send an email. I'm like, I know he's upset about status. Let me send status. I'm telling you this. I'm being vulnerable with you guys because I'm letting you know you gotta tighten things up. When you first start out, you learn, hey, you just kind of doing whatever, but you learn that if you get things in early, then they can get it back to their customer early. Okay. You get the proof signed early, they can get it back to their customer early. So when you're dealing with affiliates, you really have to understand that you're not dealing with the end customer. You're dealing with the middleman, and that customer is their customer. So you have to treat the affiliate like they're your customer. If I send you a job and I say, hey, can you just report status by 9 a.m. the next day? Is that okay? And you say, yes, do it. Right. Hey, can you make sure you make an attempt by 5 p.m.? This is a drop serve on an attorney's office. Legally, it has to be done before 5, and today's the last day because they have court tomorrow. If you say yes, do it. Make preparations to get there before time, because around 5 o'clock, people are getting off work, traffic. You get there. I can't tell you how many times I got there at like 4:58, 4:59. One time I got there after 5, dropped it anyways. Told the attorney I dropped it after 5, and he said it's not valid. And then he went to court anyway, and the attorney said, don't worry about it. Like, he accepted it, basically. Said, don't worry about it. They were pals, these two attorneys. And then now most of them just email each other. They'll just email those services to each other, and they just accept it like that. But back in the day, a lot of my business came from that, where I would get a serve from one attorney to go serve another attorney. And that's how I would meet the new attorney. And I give him my business card. And I'm pre-qualified as a process server because his buddy he went to law school with is the one that had me drop serve him. So it's not drop serve like they wouldn't accept it. It's called a 1011 drop in California. Yeah, Ryan knows. You're just dropping it off basically at their office during these business hours, and it's a valid service, which is kind of interesting when you think about it. It's an envelope sitting on a desk somewhere, and they got served. So cool, guys. Well, do you guys have any questions or any thoughts, any feedback? I know we got some experience on here.
Just a quick question, but not to you, to Ryan. Ryan mentioned something about 38 minutes ago about being somebody's premier process server. Ryan, how many companies have called you or emailed you and asked you, hey, we've got a lot of papers to serve in this area. We'd like you to become our premier process server. How much do you charge? So can you answer that question real quick? And then I've got a follow-up.
I usually start at 75, and depending on the area, because for these company I mentioned about, as my top 4 I mentioned, the price range, because they want me to handle across the United States, as opposed to they just don't want to mess with it. It's what I guess, or have a whole department, hire a whole department. So I start at 75, and it depends on the area and who I contract with.
Are they sending you more business after the initial reach out to you?
Yes.
Okay.
But I have about 14 that signed up, and I'm still working on getting more. But majority of them are like maybe less than 5. But I have my top 4 right now. That sends a lot of work.
Awesome, good work and good follow-up. I just needed to hear that to see if they were actually coming back to you.
Yeah.
All right, great.
That's great. I mean, and that's exactly what I was saying. Like, if you could get some of these law firms through the technology platform to start using you, and yet you build those relationships with those attorneys, they're just happening to use their whatever platform they're using, and it actually comes into your system that you can then go serve. Like, that I believe 10 years out, that's whether it's InfoTrack or somebody else. Maybe it's your platform, maybe you have your own platform, and you've reached out to these folks and said, hey, you don't have to just use one. The free market kind of demands that we have some options, and when we don't have options, it becomes very clear. Google kind of situated. When we don't have options with healthcare, we don't have options with whatever, like, freedom of the free market and growth requires that we have options. And so I think we will have some, whether it's who it is, I don't know, but usually it's going to be some type of a technology platform that connects with the big companies, like Clio and those guys. Any other questions?
I can set my price, and the InfoTrack makes their money with the connection, and they charge anywhere between $5 and $15 per job. And that usually comes out of my cut. So I have to up prices just a tad bit, just so I can make sure I'm not the only one eating it. Now, I did talk to the main guy from InfoTrack that dealt with the Servit network, and he says if I bring the client in, then they don't charge the client, but they still only charge me. I believe that's what he told me. And then, so that could be a selling point. But if they
Yeah.
bring the client in, they charge the client to charge me, so they're getting double on the end.
Yeah. And I think in the next few years, it's still going to be a struggle for people to swallow that pill of like, that they just want to use technology. Like, so either you have a way for them to, you reached out to them, you built a relationship with them. That's the first part. And that you have a technology platform that makes it easier for them to use you. And then makes it easy for you to communicate status and get a proof back within a day or so. It shouldn't take 2 weeks to get a proof of service back after it's served. Like these are some of the basic things that attorneys and paralegals want. And if you can't do that because you're using a platform that you have to like print the paper, sign it, scan it in, like how are you supposed to do thousands of jobs that way? You can't. You just can't. Like, have you ever done data entry on 1,000 papers?
Well,
Like
yeah,
it's
I have, but it's a lot.
like
But it doesn't take a couple of days to do it.
I've sat down before with a couple hundred serves and it's a stack like this of summons and complaints on collection cases with a check for 15,000. That was one of my first when I first got that collection client. And I remember thinking like this is a business. This is now bit, but I remember thinking too, I need to get a girlfriend that could do this. And I did, and I ended up marrying her. And she was my office manager, but she would spend all day doing data entry until I taught the ladies at the collection agency to actually log in to Serve Manager, do the data entry on their side, and I'll print the papers. You don't need a hat every day.
Yeah,
Hair
we
looks
read that
good.
too.
Thanks, Jeff. That was me, huh? You talking about me?
Yeah,
Well, it
that's
can't
you.
be me. I just gotta. It cannot be me. It has to be you.
Yeah, no, I love my cowboy hat, but I also have like a cool America hat. But cool guys, yeah, I love the conversation, love where it's going because we've been for a long time we've needed to have a conversation about the technology part of things. I'm gonna go to Texas. I'm interested to hear what they have to say because California is always kind of leading the technology front, and then it spreads across New York too a little bit, but mainly California, and then it spreads across to the coast, and then pretty much with laws too, but especially with technology. And so when I go to Texas, I'm interested to know if how they're going to take it because I know a lot of the guys there they didn't want a website. They didn't want to they were using Excel spreadsheets and Word documents to do their proofs. And if that works for you and you only serve a couple papers here and there, fine. But the future of this industry is going to have technology embedded inside of it, like dramatically. So we'll keep the conversation going tomorrow. Let's actually get to work, be thinking about it. If you want me to call, I'm great at calling. So if somebody's like, I don't like calling, we will call other process servers live and we will talk to them about becoming a member and if they will help. And so, yeah, be the backup, definitely. Well, that's for attorneys. We'll get to that. I think we'll get to that in November, but yeah, we'll call the affiliates that we might use and ask them, how much do you charge? Are you willing to take on another server and teach them? And so ideally it's somebody, maybe Jessica, it's somebody who is like newer and needs some of that. Maybe not Jessica, but somebody we need to get stuff set up so that basically not like a mentor, but somebody who feels that way about you. Like they're like ready to send you work, to call you, to check in on you, to say, hey, you're trying to join NAPS. Is everyone a NAPS member here? Yeah, Ryan and Jeff are the pros. Jessica is. How about Andrenic? You came in a little late. You signed up. Okay, great. Um, how do you say your name, Andric? Can you come on or unmute?
Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Okay, you guys could call me Andy.
Okay.
That's just my full name.
Yeah, so I'm okay butchering it for the first 50 times if you're
But you said it perfectly.
Oh, I did. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Andy, what you want to introduce yourself?
Yeah, my name is Andy. I'm in the Los Angeles area, actually San Fernando Valley, if anybody knows. And I'm fairly new. I started like maybe I want to say from April.
Yeah.
So
Keep that in mind
yeah.
about for San Fernando. I get quite a bit of jobs in that area.
Well,
Well, I'll be glad to help if you guys have anything.
I'm gonna send Andy work to him because I like his voice.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Good stuff. Good stuff.
Hey,
Well, welcome, Andy. Definitely,
thank you.
you know, you will get work from folks inside the community. Um, and you know, showing up here is a big first step. You know, this is, yeah, I'm doing a training, but the main thing about these meetings in the morning is it's a mastermind. And that's the idea, is that you could pull from, like, you could show up to these meetings, have a problem that I can't answer and someone else here can, right? Or someone else can, I can, right? So that's the idea of a mastermind. Imagine all these minds like melded together and they can solve any problem our industry has. We can solve it as a mastermind. This is why the associations are so powerful, because they direct, especially the ones that have been around for a long time, they understand what's going on. And the collection agencies, even though they're your biggest customers, they're also the ones trying to kill your industry. It's kind of crazy when you think about it. And so so being a part of the conversation and understanding what's going on is half the battle. And so being here, you're going to know, hopefully you're going to know what's going on and have the heartbeat of what's going on in your local area. But we're also counting on you for your local area. So if something's going on and we don't know about it, bring it up. Be like, hey, there's a law. I just heard about a law that was going on. And if none of us know about it, we're all going to go research it, figure it out so that we all have an answer to it. California went through something, I guess it was a little while ago now, 2 years, where they were suing all of the people, basically every company uh, that would treat independent contractors like employees. They came up with all these rules, and if you don't follow these rules exactly to a T, well, then you're treating them like an employee. And by the way, you're not paying employment tax, so therefore you're breaking federal law. And so they would fine these companies thousands of dollars. I know a couple of guys that paid well over $20,000, $30,000, and that was after battling for 6 months. And they brought in each server that ever served for them, even if it was one serve. It was like, did he tell you what time to show up? Did he tell you what to wear? Did he tell you what to wear? And we're talking about California, guys. So, you know, it's a little different. But I know in Florida, if you look at Florida, the way they do things, if it was the same laws in California, all those people would be paying hundreds of thousands of dollars per person, because everyone has to show up at a certain time, pick up their papers, big stack of papers, and they'll go serve them all for 10, 15 bucks. And then they'll come back and sign all their proofs in the office. And then they'll go back out and serve another. That's how they do it. So every area is very different. I get that because I've been to all these different areas or a lot of different areas, and I've seen how they do it so differently. So I'd love to hear it if you know you're in an area and you're like, Mike, that's not how we do it here. Feel free to chime in, because it is a mastermind. It's not a Mighty Mike mind. Okay, it's a mastermind. So thank you guys so much for coming today. Tomorrow, think about it. If you want to be the person that we highlight and we use you to call some people in NAPS, I'd like to make a couple calls either way. I want to connect with some folks in NAPS and show you guys that how easy it is, but also how powerful with just a couple phone calls, you can build a couple relationships and start getting work immediately. Like Ryan just said, Ryan's a great example. Jeff's a great example. That he networks with Charlie Profit, right? Like regularly sending work back, money back and forth and back and forth. And it's the same thing, you know, Ryan here, you may send stuff to Andy like, hey, Andy, he gives Andy a try. Andy does a great job, communicates, gets the proof back right away. Ryan, are you going to start sending him more work if that's how it goes?
Absolutely.
Right, because Ryan makes money, Andy makes money, the client's happy, everyone's happy. And so our business is actually pretty simple when you think about it. I had an attorney says, you got one job. Get the paper in the hand of the person whose name is at the top of it there, and get me a proof of service so I can show up to court and tell the judge, yes, I got a proof of service and we're ready to move forward with our case. Guys, thank you so much. We'll see you guys tomorrow. All right, be safe out there. Live mighty. Come on, Ryan. Let's see him. Yeah. And Jessica's not feeling great. Jessica, feel better. And Andy, I want to see your face, brother. Let's get that camera working next time. All right.
All right, see you
Mike,
later.
sorry guys, are we gonna see a recording of this? Because I missed the first hour. I don't know.
Yeah.
Is it
Yeah, I can't remember what this is. Is it level 5? I think it's level. What is this level?
my level
It-
is 3, I believe.
yeah, yeah. Let me see here. Calendar, classroom. Let's see. The leaderboard says that it is affiliate is number 4. Affiliate Rockstar. So yeah, the replays are just inside of the thing. They'll be inside of the
Oh,
inside
also,
the
one more thing. Sorry to cut you off, but
Oh,
Famous Legal Services, the one that I signed up,
oh yes, yes.
whenever they click on it, I guess it routes them to someone else's website.
Let me look at it real quick. I remember you saying that last night, but it should be fixed. Let's see. Boom, boom, boom. So if you go to
Someone actually emailed me saying that too. They're like, "Oh, hey, by
Mm.
the way, it's going somewhere else, Hutch Services or something like that."
So if you go to the directory and you said, oh, this is new. Yeah, my VAs just throw them up there automatically. So I have to come and vet it and make sure it's right. Let's see.
The
Famously.
Famous Legal.
Let's see here. Yeah,
Yes, Legal
that's
Services.
the guy that signed up right before you. Oh, thank you for letting me know. I'll fix that right now myself. But yeah, thanks for signing up. Yeah, definitely. That's cool that somebody noticed it though. People are finding it right away. So I'll fix that for you. No worries. Thanks for signing up for that. By the way, I'm glad you mentioned it because you should have gotten a link that actually gives you access to all the courses, the already gives you access to this. So if you click on that link in your email, it'll actually just pop up.
Perfect.
It'll
Thank you.
show up. Yeah. So you'll be able to find it inside Affiliate Networks training. And I'll fix your listing. I thought it was done last night. I told them about it last night, but yeah, that's definitely not good. We don't want people going to different websites.
Yeah, I'm gonna sign up for it as well. I just don't do it today.
Cool, Ryan. Cool. It'll be good to have you. And I'll put your once your website, you on your website, you can put that verified member listing thing on there. And then that way people can see that. Hopefully that's going to be a thing where that'll catch on and people will, we'll build this network up and just want it to be tight, I don't know if you notice, but because I know you're new, but the group went up to like 100, a little bit over 100. And I went through and just like kicked out anybody who just wasn't a member, like, or they didn't have the right name or they didn't have a photo. And if they are a process server, they can rejoin. I didn't ban them or anything. Actually, Don, one of the guys, um, oh, I can't think of his name. He got booted accidentally because he just put some random like thing to be funny on there. And so then one of the VAs booted him and then he signed up for the directory and said, I'm banned. Like, no. So I added him back. So definitely it's only process servers in there that are definitely who they say they are. I look at their social media and stuff like that. So we don't want any scammers or spammers or anything like that. So good to have you guys. We'll see you guys tomorrow. Be safe out there. All right.